Attorney Gloria Allred, and with me is our client, plaintiff Thalia Graves. Today we filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, for our client, plaintiff Thalia Graves, who is given permission to use her name. The case number of the 26-page complaint is 1:CV-07-201. In her lawsuit, Thalia, through her attorneys, sues Sean Diddy Combs, also known as the defendant, and another individual and other entities. The complaint alleges in part, in the first cause of action, that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a, quote, violation of New York City Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act by viciously and violently forcing sexual contact, oral sex, and sexual intercourse on the plaintiff, end quote. In addition, the complaint alleges in the second cause of action that defendant Combs and another defendant committed a violation of New York civil rights law, quote, section 52-B, end quote, by, quote, raping plaintiff and recording it. Defendants caused plaintiff to be depicted in a video image, unclothed and with intimate body parts exposed, and engaged in sexual conduct with another person, end quote. The lawsuit also alleges that, quote, defendant Combs and another defendant published and or disseminated the videos without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. On information and belief, defendants have continued to disseminate the video, including by selling it as pornography through the present, end quote. In our complaint, we ask that, quote, defendants should be ordered to account for and destroy all copies of the video that are in their actual or constructive possession, custody, or control, end quote. And that, quote, defendants should be temporarily and permanently enjoined from further disseminating or publishing any intimate videos of plaintiff, end quote. We also allege in the third cause of action that Combs and another defendant committed a violation of New York City Administrative Code, section 10-180, quote, recording and showing others the video of themselves violently raping the plaintiff, and the defendants disclosed an intimate image of plaintiff without her consent, end quote. As a result of these and other allegations in our complaint, we request that judgment be entered against defendants as follows. Awarding compensatory damages for all physical injuries, emotional distress, psychological harm, anxiety, humiliation, physical and emotional pain and suffering, family and social disruption, and other harm in an amount to be determined at trial. Awarding punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial. Awarding attorneys' fees and costs pursuant to any applicable statute or law, including under New York City Administrative Code, section 10-1104, New York Civil Rights Law, section 52-B2, New York City Administrative Code, section 10-180, and any other applicable statute or law. We're also seeking additional relief that the court may deem just and proper. As a result of what is alleged in the lawsuit, Thalia alleges that she has suffered and continues to suffer, among other damages, emotional harm, including mental anguish, emotional distress, humiliation, and physical damage. In a few minutes, Thalia will speak to the impact and harm that she has suffered and continues to suffer. She will take this courageous step because she thinks that it is important that the public understand the impact that rape and other criminal acts have on those who have been victimized. Often victims do not speak publicly about the specific damages that criminal acts cause them. Some of the many reasons that victims do not speak out publicly about this include being ashamed or shamed for this. But we believe that victims should not be shamed, and instead those who committed the criminal acts against them should be ashamed and take responsibility for the harm that they have caused victims to suffer. We are very proud of Thalia for speaking out today in order to help victims of rape and other acts of sexual violence against them. In addition, we thank our co-counsel Marianne Wang, Heather Gregoria, and Jasly Liriano for their exceptional legal work on this complaint. Our goal for Thalia is very simple. We want justice for her, and we are looking forward to winning it. It is long overdue for those who have caused her to suffer to be held accountable. Move over to the right. Okay, a little more. There you go. Thank you.
The internal pain after being sexually assaulted has been incredibly deep and hard to put into words. It goes beyond just physical harm caused by and during the assault. It's a pain that reaches into your very core of who you are and leaving emotional scars that may never fully heal. Some of the hardest parts of this pain are the shame and the guilt I have experienced that plays a negative part in my day-to-day ability to function properly. Being blamed, questioned, and threatened has often made me feel worthless, isolated, and sometimes responsible for what happened to me. My family issues made the pain even worse. I was already going through a divorce at the time of the assault and did not get the support that I needed. I was also faced with disbelief and judgment. This has put a strain on my selection of men and relationships. Where many relationships became aggressive and abusive, which has made me feel even more alone in my struggles. I go through spells of being distant and withdrawn that it's sometimes so hard to leave my house. The trauma of the assault has taken a toll on my mental health. I've had PTSD, depression, and anxiety. I'm emotionally scarred. It has been hard for me to trust others, to form healthy relationships, or even feel safe in my own skin. flashbacks, nightmares, and intrusive thoughts make me feel like it's a constant struggle. I also suffer with physical problems such as chronic pain, sexual discomfort. The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body, causing ongoing health problems and complications. The combination of physical and emotional pain has created a cycle of suffering from which it is so hard to break free. I want to continue on this journey towards recovery and healing. I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
Thalia is not going to be taking any questions.
I wasn't even going to do any videos on Diddy and his situation at all. I had attempted to stray away from that completely. But when I saw this woman on television struggling to express herself, struggling to explain what she had experienced, the pain that she felt, that is not acting. I've seen actors cry. That is not acting. That woman has been deeply broken and hurt by this. And there's no way that I can have a voice, no matter how small, and not speak to this situation. It is disgusting, it is heinous, it is deplorable, and it is awful. And I wish the full extent of justice and spiritual retribution for those that have harmed people in this way. Now, this lawsuit, most recent lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, was filed in federal court in New York, and it adds to a growing list of similar accusations. And excuse me, I'm under the weather. Reflecting a deep pattern of alleged predatory behavior. Thalia Graves, the plaintiff, she claimed that in 2001, Combs, alongside Joseph Sherman, who is his security, lured her into a meeting under false pretense at the Bad Boy recording studios where the assault took place. Now, the timing of the suit is significant as it comes just a week after Combs was arrested and a federal trafficking indictment and was unsealed. The allegations describe a web of power and influence used to manipulate, exploit, and silence victims, demonstrating the far-reaching impact of such an abuse. You know, I was thinking the other day to myself, like, Combs, he's a billionaire, or was a billionaire. I'm sure he's not anymore. But he could have any woman doing any nasty, freaky thing he wanted. Any man doing any nasty, freaky thing he wanted. He had that ability. You understand? And he even had the ability to get people to consent to getting their heads knocked between the washer and the dryer, from getting their shit straight rocked. There are some people who will voluntarily take an ass whooping just to be with a billionaire. So why would he need to drug and R-word somebody? It makes absolutely no sense. But keep listening. I'm going to get to what pattern I'm starting to see. Because you know, guys, on this channel, I'm going to look at the pattern. I don't see this as a one-off situation. I see this as a situation that's connected to a larger hub of very similar situations. Now, Combs, he was arrested, and we were finally like, yes, finally. You know, and he remains in jail without bail, but you can kind of see all these constant puff pieces coming out from TMZ about him suffering in the inhumane conditions. And it's like, at this point, let him suffer. Stop bothering the larger community with this nonsense, because his victims had to suffer, albeit in silence. So he's facing the federal charges that have been claimed against him. And it appears to be a vast network designed to facilitate S crimes. These crimes, according to the indictment, were committed with violence, and it reveals a very dark persona about Sean P. Diddy Combs. The allegations reflect a pattern, as I mentioned before, a pattern of abuse where individuals in positions of authority use their power to exploit the vulnerable. And it's the broader echoed sentiment of the Me Too movement, where survivors of SA have increasingly stepped forward to seek justice, challenging the cultural silence surrounding powerful figures. And these powerful figures don't have to be in the outside world. They can be inside the homes just as much. I know so many women and men are triggered by these conversations, and it's really something that we as a society try to sweep under the rug and suppress as much as possible. Now, I've done some research, and obviously, I'm emphasizing what I see as it being a power play, but the psychology, however, behind our wording someone is understood by scientists often involves a complex interplay of power, control, and deeply rooted emotional or psychological issues. Research suggests that S violence is not primarily about S desire, because a lot of people think it's about, oh, you can't get none, you can't get none. Remember, I said he is a billionaire. Somebody is willing to do every nasty thing he wants and take a punch. But he didn't want that. He knew he had the power to get anybody to do anything. But that wasn't enough to satiate him, to satisfy him. So it's more so about dominating, degrading, and asserting control over the victim, to the point where this woman is a quivering mess, reliving this pain all over again. A section of her brain has been colonized. She's broken on the inside. And she has to live with that while they walk away with her power. Now, many R-worders exhibit personality traits like narcissism, entitlement, a lack of empathy, and it allows them to justify these actions and diminish the humanity of their victims. I just did not have the stomach to read the actual document from the lawsuit filing, because it was just simply too brutal and grotesque for me to read that without just crying for the empathy that I feel for this woman. But the fact of the matter is that they kept saying how her screams and her hollers and her fainting and her falling out meant nothing to them. They were unfazed by it, unbothered, unrelenting. Now, there are social factors such as environments that promote toxic masculinity or normalize misogyny. Cue in red pill ideologies. Oh, yes, somebody's going to get offended by this, but I'm going to say it. Cue in red pill ideologies. See, a red pillar looks at a woman as a collection of body parts, servitude, and devotion. And they rate you on how good you look, not the spirit inside you, not who you are meant to be, not your divine purpose, but just your body parts, your servitude, and your devotion to them. That's dangerous, because even if you meet every pinnacle that a misogynistic red pillar feels that you should meet to be a quality woman, you're still an object to them. Therefore, you're easily discardable. Therefore, you're easily disposed of. Okay? Therefore, you're being treated in a dehumanizing way. That's why that message is so dangerous. That's why I've been on a top. Because I know what it leads to. It leads to violence against women. There's no secret about the dark side of the red pill, which is black pill and incel rage. All of those things are connected. Why? Because when you start to marginalize and objectify another human being, the heinous acts that you commit towards them mean nothing to you, because they are just an object. They're not a human with emotions and spirit. They're just an object to get what you want out of. So I'm going to read that again. Social factors such as environment that promote toxic masculinity or normalize misogyny can further fuel behavior, contributing to a cycle of abuse and exploitation. I truly, truly have no sympathy for this man. And whatever happens to Diddy happens. Now, the interesting thing about this is, let's compare this to some other notable cases. And I'm going to show you some things that if you read the woman's lawsuit about how she was basically drugged and R-worded, it seems to be a repetitive coincidence in the industry. Is it really a coincidence though? I'm going to show you other examples, and you guys let me know what you think in the comments, and you definitely want to watch to the end so that you too can let me know if you're connecting the dots like I am.
But DJ Academics has his own drama at home to deal with, and his skeletons are coming out.
There was a woman that came to my house. That woman claimed she was assaulted.
Fawzia Zaya Abash, DJ Academics' on and off friends with benefits, has accused him and 2 of his associates of engaging in non-consensual activity with her. She says she arrived at his house expecting to meet him, but he was not there. She alleges that she waited for Academics with 2 of his associates who forced her to drink alcohol and possibly spiked her drink, leading to her blacking out. The next morning, DJ Academics showed her his security footage of her and the 2 men doing what he describes as running a train, and asks her if the actions were consensual.
She was getting trained by my 2 mans. Like, on my pool deck the night before when I'm sleeping. I bet this would happen.
I look crazy right now, but I'm not going to stand here and let this man continue to lie about me. That's not what happened. Academics, you know that that's not what happened. And for you to pretend that you didn't do anything, that I just went to your house and I'm just some thought, like we didn't know each other for 2 years. You tried to save yourself after your friends assaulted me. Whether or not you got drunk or not, I know that when you woke up, you were on top of me too.
Allegations tonight against hip-hop personality DJ Academics. A woman filed a lawsuit claiming the influencer drugged and raped her at his house in New Jersey in 2022. Now, she says the 2 other men involved sexually assaulted her at the property earlier. The lawsuit also accuses Academics of defamation, claiming he publicly denied the assault and made demeaning comments about the victim. DJ Academics took to his live stream tonight denying the claim and saying that he's excited to see how this plays out in court.
Man, I don't think it's going to financially affect Academics. And if you're out there and you're like, yo, what's happening to Academics? He's finished. I'm going to hit you with this button.
Oh, wow. This isn't where anyone thought you were going with the button, but I hear what you're saying. Congratulations. You played yourself.
The people who support the likes of the people like DJ Academics will not be deterred from tuning into him sitting in a closet on Twitch, disparaging whomever or to having his hip-hop takes. He's
Idiot.
Hey, so as y'all could probably guess or imagine, it's been extremely difficult for me to remain quiet in light of all the things that have transpired and all of the egregious allegations that's been tossed around about me and my wife. But it's a reason for that, and I don't mind sharing it. You see, if a person does not have any right to criminally or civilly have you in court, they have no right. The best thing they could do is get you for a defamation suit, drag you in court, make you pay their legal bills, we get you in court. Now, I mean, at this point, man, this is the point where that don't even matter to me no more, okay? But that's the motive, that's the strategy, that's the intention. Say a whole bunch of false stuff about you that get people to believe and make them come out and say, they're a liar, they're a liar, they're a liar. And then they can say, see, they call me a liar. That's defamation. Then they drag you in court, get you under oath and all that. Because unfortunately right now, it doesn't matter as much what they can prove you did. It matters what you can prove you didn't. You know what I mean? And that's just an unfortunate place that our society has made it to. But I want to be clear about one thing. Women who have been victimized deserve to be heard. Women, black women in particular, should be supported, protected, defended, and uplifted. However, evil has no gender. People with evil intentions have no gender. A threat comes in all shapes and sizes. I would never treat a woman the same way I would treat a threat. All right? So I think that has to be distinguished. First and foremost, I want to say my wife is a beautiful person with an amazing spirit and a kind heart. She's a devoted mother, and she has a humble soul. She don't deserve it. She don't deserve it. Now, what we're not going to do is open up the door to my bedroom, as you shouldn't have to either. Open up the door to my bedroom for everybody to come in, chime in, and make their opinions about what we do and don't do or should or shouldn't do. But I will say this. Whatever we ever have done has been done with consensual adults who into what we into and like what we like. If we want something, we know exactly where to go to get it. We ain't never forced nobody. We ain't never drugged nobody against their will. We ain't never held nobody against their will. We ain't never made nobody do anything. We ain't never trafficked anything.
Filed a lawsuit and accused the hitmaker of sexual assault, rape, and sex trafficking. The artist mentioned in the lawsuit that he manipulated her and promised that she would be the next Beyonce and Rihanna, but in order to do so, she would have to share intimate and embarrassing details and allow him to have complete control over her. What are your thoughts on this new lawsuit, Armand?
Here's the thing. Y'all probably not gonna like this, but I seen a comment that someone said, can we normalize win? You know, it just feels scary sometimes, guys, because it just feels like now the floodgates are open. So now everybody's coming out with a lawsuit. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but it just feels like, you know, can we start to do these things when it happens or just not wait for everyone else to come out with their lawsuits for you to jump on the bandwagon? Because on one end, it may be true, but then on the other end, it comes like, well, is there some agenda to end hip hop or get rid of every powerful man in hip hop culture? Like, it's scary. It's like, get in line and take a ticket because you will be next.
Clown.
So I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm not here celebrating any of this. If it happened, justice should be served. But if not, like, can we please stop this? And guys with power, men with money and influence, like, do not abuse your power with these women. Do not make false promises, because the day you stop paying, the day that promise does not go fulfilled, you will be exposed and hit with a lawsuit. So don't get ahead of yourself, guys.
Okay, so sadly, there you have it. 4 different men in the industry accused of using and abusing their power and leverage in the industry to exploit and gain sexual access to women. And not only that, taking it a step further and drugging them and R-wording them. And this is just completely horrific. I never in a million years thought we would be living in a world like this, but I guess I personally was naive. Nonetheless, I truly hope for divine retribution as well as justice to be served for the victims, and for those who truly did commit these heinous acts to be held accountable, and vindication for those who did not. But for those that did, oh, absolutely, the full extent of justice and law, may it be served upon them. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.